I think we can slowly start to unravel this whole new episode, new webinar actually by Referrizer. Welcome everyone. I'm just looking at the attendees list. It's growing nicely. Thank you everyone for coming in. And the beauty of it all is I recognize some of my direct clients here, which is absolutely amazing. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. This is going to be a good one. So, in today's webinar, in today's Refrizer webinar, Zach here, this fellow up here on the screen is going to be presenting how to create an offer that sells itself, how to create an irresistible offer, how to basically turn browsers and people are just, looking how to get, some money out of their wallets. That's going to be the whole idea, where we're going to be diving into this. Now, what are we actually going to be learning? We're going to be learning about first, we have to diagnose the issue, right? Which is why are some offers bad? When I say some, a lot of them. We're going to have a simple formula, right? You're going to be able to remember it real quick. And we're also going to be providing with some examples of ready to use templates, ready to use offers that you can just draft into your account and just go off of there. That's going to help you out in the short term. But everything else revolving around this webinar is just going to teach you how to fish, basically. Basically going to be letting you know the success formula that has never failed and that can always be reused no matter the time or the area that we're living in. So, with that said, first of all, even before I jump into this slide, I would love to first kind of put a briefing out there, like why this concept of offers even exists. Like we're all business owners here. We all do that. We all do our stuff. And all of us have some kind of an introductory offer. The introductory offer was kind of developed just because of competition, right? So we want it to be a step ahead of the competition. This is going to be coming in handy later on in the webinar. And also towards the end, just forgot to mention this, we're going to be having a Q&A session towards the end, but feel free to put your questions in the Q&A section. There's this little toolbar Zoom that you can use and just put your questions in there. Some of them are going to be answered live, some of them are going to be answered through chat, depending on the number and the length of the response. So where are we at right now? Most businesses promote services, not solutions. This is so huge. This is so huge. Like if you have a pen and paper right now in front of you, like this is the first thing you should take down. Never promote the service. Never promote the service. And this is something I'm advocating for with all of my clients. Never, never, never just promote the service. Why? It happens a lot of the time that the people actually don't know what you're talking about, right? I'll give you a firm kind of example here. Let's say that you're doing Neosculpt, right? Like you're doing Neosculpt, right? Not all of us here are from the beauty industry, from the fitness industry, wellness industry. So some of us might not even know what Neosculpt is. But I saw an offer that says $50 off your first Neosculpt session. What does it do? What does it help me with, right? Why should I even consider going getting a Neoscope? Or especially if you're in the energy business, like energy healing, Reiki. A lot of the people don't know what that is, right? And there's a lot of this that can be extrapolated to other even more popular industries. I know a lot of the gyms have like heart rate monitors, right? Maybe the client doesn't know why would they need a heart rate monitor, right? So you always want to be promoting uh, solutions. You want to be promoting the outcome of what is going to be happening if you take on this offer. Like this is so huge. I just wanted to extrapolate it a little bit. This is the first thing you should be writing now. Never promote just service. Always promote the whole solution outcome. That's the idea. An irresistible offer solves a painful high value problem. Now, high value can be coming in more forms than one, right? It can be coming in more forms than one. What do I mean? High value, either a lot of people have an issue with a small problem, right? Or a niche of people has a big problem, right? So you're going to take a look at, let's say, the fitness industry. A lot of people are overweight, including me. I could lose like 30 pounds or something, right? It's just that I don't care. But a lot of people are slightly overweight, and that's why businesses like gyms are focusing on having a bigger and bigger member base, right? That's the whole idea. But if you're working in, I don't know, launching rockets to space or something, then you're helping out a small group of people, but they have a very big ambition, very big problem. It creates An irresistible offer also creates urgency and lowers buyers' resistance. And we're going to be talking about this more in the following slides, especially when it comes to risk reversal and what is the whole idea with that, and how to actually generate urgency with our clients. And also at the end, yeah, turns browsers into buyers. We already kind of mentioned this. I didn't want to go with the Godfather quote, so I went with the Alex Hermosi quote right here at the bottom. Make an offer so good people feel stupid saying no. So if you have an identified customer, they have a problem, you know how to solve it, you need to put it in their faces, and you have to make them not being able to say no. These are some of the outlined and kind of the most popular reasons why most offers are failing. First of all, too vague, right? Like even let's say that your business name isn't really reflecting exactly what you're doing, right? This is something I see all the time. And someone stumbles upon your website by pure accident, right? Which happens in today's day and age. And then it says get 10% off services. What services? I didn't even read through the website. I don't know what do you do? You know, you're called, Light Kings, but you're doing lightsabers. I didn't know. I thought you were installing something in my house regarding lights, right? Too general. One size fits all doesn't speak to real problems. This is also huge. Um, Ideally, if you're working, let's say, a medical kind of industry or medical wellness, anything of the sort, this goes for you the most. One size fits all is really not a good way to go here. You always want to start with some kind of initial consult that you're going to be able to identify the pain points of your client's patients and work on them successfully. And then, depending on that, give them an offer that they can't refuse. There we go. I said it. So, yeah. Next one is going to be actually like too safe for the business. No risk taken, no urgency added, no emotion, and not even from the business, but also from the buyer's perspective. If I see an offer that's, and somewhere it says, it never expires or, expires in a year or something like that, I'll come back to it. I never will. I'll forget about it because we all live lives that are just crazy on all fronts. You'll forget about it, right? So urgency creates buyers. That has always been one of the parts of the formula. Too self-centered. This actually reflects really well with the first thing I said to write down, which is don't sell the service. Focusing on what you do instead of what they want. And you should really be taking this into account. Some businesses that work with these, they're promoting themselves too much in terms of, their staff, what it is that they do. It doesn't really speak to the end buyer, right? You want to be identifying your ideal customer. Once you identify your ideal customer, then you know that you can be promoting stuff that you do, but if it collides with the stuff that they need, right? Key takeaway right there. So how do we create these irresistible offers? I always kind of prepare these abbreviations for you guys, and this time is no different. Last time was where, if anyone remembers it, welcome, engage, appreciate, and retain. That was from our lead nurturing webinar, from our automations webinar. This time we have churro, right? It only has one R. Clarity, clear on the offer and the ideal customer. I wanted to highlight that is the only one highlighted on this slide because all of them are pretty much self-explanatory. But be clear on the offer and the ideal customer. If you don't know your ideal customer, you don't know who to market to, you don't know where to go, you don't know where to do pop-up events, you know nothing, right? High perceived value, right? That's the next one. High perceived value is so, and we're going to be diving into all these, breaking them down step by step. But that is just huge. Urgency, we mentioned it. Risk reversal. This is going to be something new that we're going to be learning about. And then again, outcome focused. So churro, remember it. And think about the chocolatey, beautiful sweets that we all know and love. Step one, clarity. Know your ideal customer. Understand their pain points, fears, and desires. Use surveys, interviews, or social media insights. This is something that where a lot of businesses are actually falling short, and that is something that we actively, attack. And especially when you come to the platinum team to work with us, we always try and find a way to actually get feedback from your clients, right? It's so important, even with the simple reputation, even with the simple reputation module that Referrizer offers, and every one of you can use it. It's so key to get that feedback from your clients and to read it and to actually acknowledge it. And when you're done with that, then act on it, right? Because if you're just standing in spot, you're going to keep getting the same old complaints, so you're not going to be really pushing forward. Speak in their language, not yours. This is something I covered heavily in the first part. If you're just promoting a service and people don't know what it is, you're not going to go anywhere. You need to promote exactly how is it that that's something that you're selling is going to be helping them out. And clarity in terms of perceived value. Now, this perceived value is so cool. It's so cool. And the whole point of this webinar is really talking about lead generation offers, right? So we had a webinar where we were talking about win back, but this is so different when you're trying to get new people in. Just see. Yes, Tom, this webinar is being recorded and it will be sent to the participants later on. Thank you so much for asking. So, yeah, clarity, perceived value. Um, Sit down with yourself and ask yourself, what is it that I can give to these people, right? To try and get them in that doesn't cost me a lot, that doesn't cost me anything, right? What am I talking about? Let's say that a typical kind of, kind of beauty spa, right? They could be, enticing people with, a 10%, 20%, whatever off a single massage, right? But if you add on a simple facial to it that's for free, suddenly the whole value goes up because facials are, they have a price. They're not free, right? They're definitely not free, but it doesn't cost you much, while they're getting their feet and foot massage or whatever it is, the case may be, you get a facial as well, right? And then at that moment, the perceived value just skyrockets, right? That's the idea. And every single one of the industries can apply this. I haven't found any exceptions, right? There's always that moment where you can put on perceived value without actually going into your business's pockets. No? Now, solve a high value problem. Laser focus on one problem your audience really cares about. That is what we talked about. Avoid offering too many things at once. This is something that I don't know why isn't it known wider, like across, all people the globe. But just put yourself in the client's shoes. Have you walked in a perfume shop, right? And then you smelled this one, then you smelled that one, and then your senses get all overstimulated, and then at the end you don't know what to do. I always advise all of my clients don't have multiple offers. Don't have multiple offers being promoted, right? If you want to have multiple offers, keep the number low. The more offers you have, typically what happens is the same thing as in a perfume shop. People just get lost, and as they're reading the through the scripts and through the descriptions of everything, what happens is they get a text message. Someone calls them. Their mom calls them, the dishes need to be done, right? Whatever the case may be. Doesn't matter. The thing is, you want to hit the point on the dot immediately because today's, day and age, our attention span is like flies. That's how I call them. And there's a very cool quote here, by the way. You are paid in the direct proportion of the difficulty of the problems you solve. And that's by Elon Musk. I really love this quote simply because it shows you how big of an impact you're having. It's directly proportional to the level of income that you're experiencing, right? So always keep that in mind. Look at your bank account and be happy with the biggest problem that you're able to solve, not because of the number itself. That's also a huge one. Step three, risk reversal and urgency. Now, whenever someone new is signing up, you always want to try and get them on a trial or a low price entry item. You want to try and get them in so that they have the least amount of risk, right? There was a time in the marketing world where you could be just promoting, 6 months membership at like 2 billion% off or something. Um, but that time is past. People value time much more than before. So you always want to try and get them on a short trial, on a low price entry item, on a simple service if you're maybe in the beauty industry, and that sort of stuff. Include testimonials or past client results. These are the things that the Referrizer platform actually does on its own. Whenever you're sending an offer, it automatically includes the reviews, it includes the It includes the testimonials and it gives a better picture of the business to the client who's actually thinking of claiming that offer. Use real urgency, limited spots, limited time, whatever the case may be. These two are going to be your best friend, right? Um, a good example of this was like a summer challenge that was being done by a gym. I don't know if it was last year or 2 years ago, something like that. But there have to be limited spots, right? They don't necessarily have to be limited, but they have to be marketed as limited spots. Why? Summer's coming. Everyone wants to go somewhere. Cancun, Mexico, the Philippines, whatever. Everyone wants to go somewhere. And if you're not selling that urgency, selling that fear of missing out, FOMO, right? We all heard of it. Then people are just not going to go for it, right? So super important. Whenever you have the chance to impose a time limit on something, you should definitely do it. And same goes with class packs. All class packs, especially in the fitness industry, they should have an expiration date. Memberships in the in the spa industry as well, they should have an expiration date. Keep that in mind. Uh-huh. That's a bad quick, no worries. Okay, good. I thought it was something for me. Good, cool. Hope everyone's following along and you're having a good time here. Let's move on to the next step, and that is going to be step number 4, outcome focused, uh, stack the value, right? Outcome focused, stack the value. Those are those words I want you to think about them all the time. I want you to dream of them. Main offer plus bonuses equal plus guarantees equals irresistible. This is the formula. This is the formula right here. When you're outcome focused, meaning you're going to have shiny hair, but also you're going to have voluminous hair, right? That is what we're talking about. They don't care about the product you're going to use. No one cares, right? Just want results, right? You'll get X plus A and B and C all worth Y, but just for the price of Z, right? Z and as in Zach. Make it feel like 10 times what they're paying. Never talk about the services, talk about the outcomes, and then stack them, right? So if you're working in a gym, you're not only working for them to get, I don't know, to get rid of a few inches on their stomach, you're working for them to get better health. You're working for them to get better mobility. You're working for them to be able to be longer with their kids. These are the things you want to be focused on. These are the things you want to be talking about. We're going to be going into some like direct examples of per industry, like what can be done. And these are just some of the results that were actually like delivered within Referrizer. So we're using our own data, everything that came from us, to actually give you a good representation of what can be done. So we were talking about a low risk, low price entry item, right? And you can see right here, $15 off any massage for new clients, right? The beauty of this offer is it's in the spa industry. It's a massage. Everyone knows what's a massage, right? So we don't have that factor of promoting the outcome. It's not needed because everyone knows what a good massage feels like. 5,532 claims via Referrizer. If this was even a 20% conversion, it's crazy. Just do your math on that. Why it worked? Clear savings for first timers, relaxing, rejuvenating service that solves stress, and a low risk entry to dive to upsell into different packages. It's much easier. It's much easier to upsell someone when they're actually in the door, right? Keep that in mind as well. It's not really easy to upsell someone you never actually met. So you don't want to be in your lead nurturing sequences. You don't want to be offering upsells. You don't want to be offering new things. You want to get them in the door. You want them to feel everything that what's going on, the whole energy of the place, the outcomes of everyone else, and then you're going to be able to easily upsell them into different packages. Like a specific massage package, people buy memberships for massages, but they don't buy them straight off the bat. They don't. Same goes with membership contracts at gyms. You want to get them in on a trial. Low cost, no risk. Let's go to the next one. Fit this example. 28-day jumpstart challenge. This is a super cool one. I didn't get the number here. Holy moly, that's so bad. It was in the hundreds. And the client isn't even that long with us. But why did it work? Why did it work? Time bound, clear clear result. So the challenge is running for a limited time, and you only have one shot to actually get into the challenge, right? Super important, super important. Includes group workouts, meal plans, coaching, stacking the value. Again, known stuff. So we're not talking about nuclear physics here. We're talking about group workouts, which people love because most of us are intimidated to go into the gym. First time comers, most of the time. Meal plans, coaching. Just like me personally, just the thought of a meal plan, that would do me so much good. Like I would sign up immediately just because of this meal plan. But when you're stacking the value, you can see like this is exactly what happens with the clients as well. When you're stacking the outcomes, when you're stacking the value of the offer, they will find something that they'll catch on to. And once they catch on to that, that is what they're going to be biting for. High value, low entry price. The low entry price was something around like $70 or something like this, but for all of this included, it was crazy. Encourages clients in long-term retention. So, like, imagine someone coming in, new time comer, whatever. They sign up for the challenge. They lose a few pounds, 10 pounds. It doesn't matter, right? But they've seen results. Plus, they're already used to this place. They know where the toilet is. They know where the front desk is. They know where the amenities bar is. Like they know everything, right? They wouldn't want to change. So that's the whole point. It encourages long-term retention and easier upsells. You can see that I'm kind of repeating these words here, but I just want everyone to understand how applicable all of this is across the business landscape. It's crazy. Let's go into the next one. Martial arts example. Oh my God, is this a good one? This is such a psychologically good offer. It's actually kind of crazy. 5 classes and get free gloves for only $40. Right? Can you imagine? And I think I can speak for a lot of people who ever even thought about kickboxing in this instance, just having the gloves on your hands, right? And then let alone having your own pair of gloves, right? Now imagine getting a pair of gloves and then actually going into a spa where they can teach you how to box. That's crazy, right? It brings up emotions. It brings up things that we were thinking about, when we were younger, perhaps, or something like that. So fun, low commitment way to re-engage members, right? High perceived value for first-time joiners and strong call to action urgency built in with the free gloves for a limited time, right? Only if you sign up, in the next 10 days, 5 days, 1 hour even, you're going to be getting these gloves, but you want them because they're super cool, right? And you're going to feel like a rock star. So this is exactly the play of words that you're looking for when you're creating your offers. That's the whole idea. So you want to focus on something that's attached to the service, right? And then the service comes second. So cool. Beauty example, $40 toward any service. Flexible promo across all services. Now, we spoke about earlier on how a vague offer is not a good offer, right? Why is it different here? Why is it different here? Because this is specific for the beauty industry, though. In the beauty industry, the clients know what they can be getting at each place. So there's no need for additional descriptions, right? We know you do eyelashes, we know you do extensions, we know you do nails, we know you do, pedicure, manicure, facials, that sort of stuff. So come in and experience any of our stuff for $40 off. This is actually such a good segue into the next part of it, which brings us back to the initial thing that I said at the beginning of the call. Why do offers exist? It's because of competition. So, what am I encouraging you guys to do? What am I saying here? Take a look around you. Take a look within a 5 mile radius, 10 mile radius, whatever is the kind of culture that your business is carrying. Are people driving from far away? Are they living close by? Take a look at what other people are doing. Take a look at what other people are doing. Apart from having a good offer, having a better offer than them, you have to have better reviews. You have to have better online presence. And all this is something that Referrizer is helping you out actively with. So thank you all for being a part of the family. $40 off towards any service, 54 past clients reactivated in weeks. Gets people back in the door fast. Upsells. Come in, we'll take care of you. we're gonna go ahead and do you good. Opens the door for future bookings and loyalty. So just come back in. We have everything sorted out. That's the plan here. And regarding the competition, don't skip that part. Don't skip that part. It's so vital to have your own unique selling point, your own USP. You have to have it. You have to research the businesses around you. It's so funny because if you dive too much into it, you're almost going to be backtracking, meaning you should have created the offer first and then the business later on. If you go into full on details and like full in depth, thinking about it. So yeah, research your competition, super important. So let's go through these and let's make sure that we all understand these. Oh, 1 second. See a question. We're going to be answering it later on. We'll definitely get back to it. So recap, churro, right? Remember the churro with one R. Clear, clearly set the expectations and clearly know your customer. High value problem, either in volume or in cost. Create urgency. Low risk, no risk. If possible, no risk to the client. And then always focused on the outcome. And this is actually really good really good quote that I found. You don't need more leads. You need offers that convert more than ones that you already have. An irresistible offer is your number one growth lever. Why is this so important? Because if you have a bad offer and have a bad business idea in general, you have to be an amazing salesman, right? Not a lot of people have good salesman skills. Sales skills. They just don't, right? I don't even believe I do. But when you have a good product, when you have a good service, when you have the proof to actually put behind it, right? So you're backing it up with actual facts, what happened in the real world, then you have a killer. You don't need to be a salesman. You don't even have to talk, right? People are just gonna be coming your way. Churro, churro, churro. Dream about it if possible. Now, obviously, you're going to have two choices. You could do nothing and not really, think about everything I said. When I say do nothing, I'm talking about not researching your competition. I'm talking about not seeing what's wrong with your offers, not understanding if it's clear enough. One of the best ways that you can check if this is clear enough, test with your friends, test with your family, someone who is not even remotely related to the industry that you're in. Ask them how would they understand this, right? Or even use AI. Even use AI. Or you can bring it on, obviously. Take into account all the feedback everything you learn on this webinar, right? We're still not the end. We still have the Q&A sessions, so don't worry about that. But take these tips, implement them into your business. I can almost guarantee you're going to feel a change. Now, I'm going to leave you on this screen for just about a minute or two, just so I can get some water in. And while I'm getting my water, I'm going to be, compiling all these questions, and we're going to be answering them live for you. Okay, we're back at it. Oh my God, we have a really, really good question here. How to transform into a real appointment someone who claims an offer but doesn't book an appointment after that. So one of the key things that Referrizer allows you to do is set up your lead nurturing, right? If it's a new term for you, you're at the right spot. Lead nurturing in the terms of people a lot of the times, and this is, one of the parts of the job, just you have to be converting your leads. What does that mean? In Referrizer, basically, you have the ability to set up automation, we even have an AI assistant now that is directly contacting your leads and actually, speaking with them via text. So you can be leveraging that as well. But you want to start with something. You want to start with the process. Whenever I'm setting up something new, for a client of mine, I'm setting it up in a way where we have it documented, right? We have it documented. For example, we're going to be sending a text on email on day 1, day 2, day 4, 7, and 10, right? That's five texts within a 10-day period. And then you're going to see a pattern. Then you're going to see a pattern of people engaging with it or not engaging with it. Then you're going to see a pattern of people unsubscribing from your text or people subscribing to your texts, right? Same goes with calls. You set up a system where you're going to be calling them actively up until they book, but you want to have it measured. You want to have it trackable so that you can change it later on. There's this really cool quote that says, "What is measured can't be improved." Right? I don't think anyone's like quote said that originally. I think it's just what came up from the business world. But yeah, you have to measure it. So first, implement a process and keep it documented and measurable. After you measure it, then you can see the outcomes, and then you can make your decisions based off of the outcomes as well. So yeah, it's a lot of persistency in getting these people through the door. Not seeing any more questions here. You're more than welcome. We're going to keep the stream live for another approximately 5 to 10 minutes, depending on the number of questions that come in. So if anything falls to mind, just let us know. Okay, so I'm seeing two questions come in. Did not see the downloadable templates. Go ahead and join the Facebook group. There's a lot of material there, and also in the email that you're going to be getting post this webinar will contain these templates as well. What medium do you find is best for marketing? Facebook, Instagram, Yelp. I will need some more information. What industry? What is going on exactly? What are you trying to achieve? Like for gymnastics instruction. Beautiful, beautiful. So what is the question here? If you're training, for example, if you're training younger people, right, you want to be going with media that is much more, pertainable to them. If you're training older people, you might want to be trying something that's similar to Facebook, for example. right? A lot of the younger generations are on Instagram and TikTok, for example, right? In terms of Yelp, for solid reviews, nothing I don't think ever is going to beat Google, right? Maybe TripAdvisor specifically for people traveling. But don't see like how Yelp is, an effective marketing method. I really don't. So I wouldn't spend too much time on there to be completely honest with you. But a good train of thought would be setting up some basic ads with a really easy funnel, promoting all of the stuff that we just talked about, focusing on the outcome. And if you're working, gymnastics instructions, let's say for example your specialty is working with kids who are slow in development, right? You want to be highlighting that, and the ways that they're out coming out of that, feeling happy, feeling energized, and that sort of stuff. I work with plenty of places like that, and we generally get really good results. I sell wine from our tasting room, trying to think of an offer to bring in customers, free appetizer. That is bang on. That is bang on. I almost called you out, because I can see the names. But that is so bang on. What's the deal? Why am I saying this? Why am I so kind of attached to it? I worked with this restaurant. They're still a client of Referrizer, but they're not in Platinum anymore. But basically, what happened was that we did the free appetizer, right? And it just went so crazy. It went so crazy. They were based in Canada, and just alone on the free appetizer, they were able to get thousands and thousands of claims just for a free treat, right? People can come in, they can get a free treat, and then meanwhile they like everything else they see in the showcase and on the menus, and then they just stay. So it was super super crazy. We have another question. We're trying to reach clients we don't already have. When you're trying to reach clients you don't already have, first of all, you have to be aware of your surroundings. Number one, how long have you been in business at that specific location? Because there comes a time where you're going to be, using pretty much all the resources, number one. But quickest way to get new clients through the door is going to be paid ads. Paid ads or a heavily incentivized referral program. Those two are going to be your best bet, really. Oh, and just to come back to the to one of the initial questions that I got, how to turn people from, just someone who claims an offer to actually someone who books an appointment. I remember specifically I was working with a massage room. I think they were based in Chicago or something like this. And what ended up happening is as the offers were being claimed, the guy just calling them. And when I say calling them, he was calling them every single day, right? And it ended up being a really good move because he had like an insane conversion rate. I'm talking like 85 plus percent, right? He was just calling them nonstop. Like his life turned into Referrizer and then the lead list that he was getting from us. So yeah, definitely call them, track it, and see how you can improve it. Just, kind of recapping that question right there. I'm gonna leave it for a few more minutes just to we have any other questions. We get stumped on the follow-up. That is really unfortunate, but that is definitely something you want to be doing in your business. If you take a look at, industry wide, I can tell you it's being done across the board. It really is. If you're having like process issues, just communicate that with your account manager. They're going to be able to help you out with that, definitely. they don't pick up, then we feel like stalkers. Trust me, you're not going to be a stalker. Just don't overdo it, right? So the example that I brought up, with the person just calling and calling and calling, that's borderline, mischievous. Let's put it at mischievous, whatever. But if they don't pick up the first time, they don't pick up the second time, that's totally fine. Just like always put yourself in the customer's shoes. Ask yourself, how many calls do I miss? How many times am I too busy just to take a call? That's totally fine. What you could do though is set up along the calls, you want to set up an automation sequence of emails and texts going out. Ideally with call to actions that are so simple that a toddler could do them, right? So I'm not talking, click here, then fill this form out. Then after you fill the form, receive a verification email, then create your account, tell us a little bit about yourself, then you can book. No, click, book, done. That's what you want. You want simplicity in these emails and text. Not seeing anything else coming in. Think that's going to be it for today. So, in any case, I hope you took advantage of the QR codes that were on your screen and also these tips. We're going to send you this, we're going to send you the recording, and actually, it's going to be available on the Facebook group. So, please take a look at it if ever you need it. Remember churro, and thank you so much for everyone who attended, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, everyone.